The upcoming rematch between Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Lamont Roach has the boxing world buzzing with anticipation, fueled by the controversial draw in their first encounter and the intense preparations both fighters are undertaking. The initial bout was a grueling test for Davis, one that exposed vulnerabilities few had seen before, while elevating Roach's status as a formidable contender. As the rematch looms, both fighters are leaving nothing to chance, with Davis training with unprecedented focus and Roach acknowledging the need to push himself harder to match his opponent's intensity. This fight is more than just a chance to settle the score. It's a battle for legacy, redemption, and the opportunity to silence critics. In their first fight, Roach proved he was no pushover. He didn't just survive against Davis. He competed at an elite level, showcasing technical skill, composure, and an impressive ring IQ. Many observers noted that Roach's timing and range gave Davis problems, particularly in the later rounds. The fight ended in a draw, a result that sparked heated debate, especially over a controversial moment in the 9th round when Davis went down on one knee. The referee's decision not to call it a knockdown left many fans and analysts questioning the officiating, with some arguing it should have tipped the score in Roach's favor. The incident has only heightened the stakes for the rematch, as both fighters and their teams know a conclusive outcome is essential to put the controversy to rest. Davis, a fighter known for his raw knockout power and adaptability, was expected to dominate the first fight. His ability to end fights with a single well-placed shot has made him one of the most feared punchers in the sport. Unlike many of his peers who rely on high output or technical finesse, Davis has a rare gift for delivering devastating blows once he finds his rhythm. However, in the first bout, Roach's intelligence and positioning in the ring neutralized some of Davis's advantages. Roach's ability to pressure intelligently while avoiding Davis's power shots kept the fight competitive, leading to the draw that shocked many in the boxing community. Roach himself has been vocal about the respect he has for Davis, emphasizing that his opponent is a hell of a fighter with great punching power, speed, and boxing ability. He's cautioned others not to underestimate Davis, warning that the same strategy that worked for him won't necessarily work for everyone. "Don't think because of what I did, y'all can just go in there and have the same night," Roach said. "He'll go upside your head and crack you. You might end up on the floor." Despite his confidence, Roach admitted that Davis's recent training footage, which surfaced ahead of the rematch, has pushed him to elevate his own preparation. "I know I'll need to push myself harder this time and train with greater intensity," he said, acknowledging the challenge of facing a focused Davis. Davis's training camp for the rematch has been nothing short of intense. Footage shows him moving with precision in the ring, his footwork sharp and his reflexes on point. Sparring sessions reveal a fighter who's not just going through the motions but executing every move with purpose. He's hammering the heavy bag with explosive force, each punch carrying the weight of his determination to prove himself. The draw in the first fight left too many questions unanswered, and Davis is clearly motivated to deliver a performance that leaves no doubt about his dominance. For him, this fight is personal, a chance to reclaim the respect he feels was lost and to silence the critics who've questioned his place among boxing's elite. Renowned boxing analyst Teddy Atlas has long praised Davis's unique skill set, particularly his ability to remain calm under pressure. Unlike fighters who rush or force their punches, Davis is deliberate, patiently reading his opponent before launching calculated strikes. Atlas points out that Davis's adaptability, his ability to fight effectively inside, outside, or at mid-range, makes him a nightmare to prepare for. "He doesn't get over-anxious," Atlas noted. "He slowly closes gaps, inch by inch, step by step, and then he gets to you." This unpredictability, combined with his knockout power, makes Davis one of the most complete fighters in the sport when he's at his best. Atlas believes that if Davis is fully focused, he's nearly untouchable. However, the first fight exposed cracks in Davis's armor. Some, like boxer Henry Garcia, have suggested that Davis may have been mentally distracted during the bout. The absence of his longtime trainer, Calvin Ford, could have disrupted his rhythm, and Garcia hinted at possible personal issues outside the ring that may have affected his performance. "Something was bothering Tank," Garcia said. "He's a good fighter, but there was something going on." For the rematch, Davis will need to align his mental and physical preparation to return to the form that made him a pound-for-pound star. Roach, on the other hand, is no stranger to Davis. The two fought in the amateurs, and Roach's team, led by his father, has a deep understanding of Davis's style. This familiarity gives Roach an edge, as he knows what to expect from Davis's athletic, quick reflex approach. However, Roach's own limitations have been noted by analysts. While he possesses a high boxing IQ and excellent positioning, he lacks the explosive finishing ability that Davis brings to the table. Roach doesn't have that special thing like really fast hands or a really powerful punch, one observer remarked. Still, his technical prowess and ability to stay composed against a dangerous puncher like Davis make him a serious threat. The narrative surrounding Davis has shifted since the first fight. Before the draw, he was celebrated as an untouchable force, with reporters and fans hanging on his every word and laughing at his jokes. But the controversial outcome led to a wave of criticism, with some questioning whether Davis had lost his edge. Teofimo Lopez, another prominent figure in boxing, pointed out that Davis is now fighting not just Roach but also the perception that he's on the decline. "Look how much hate he got out of a draw," Lopez said. "When you're winning, they're there, but they're waiting for any moment to slip up." For Davis, the rematch is a chance to rise above this narrative and reassert his dominance. Roach's stock, meanwhile, has risen significantly since the first fight. The fact that he went toe-to-toe with Davis and came away with a draw has put him in the conversation with top fighters like Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, and Ryan Garcia. Even if he doesn't win the rematch, his performance in the first bout has already cemented his status as a legitimate contender. "His stock has already risen," one commentator noted. "He's directly in line to go against the best in the division." For Roach, the rematch is an opportunity to prove that his performance in the first fight was no fluke and that he belongs among the elite. Davis's team has indicated that they won't drastically overhaul their strategy for the rematch. Instead, they plan to refine the approach they used in the first fight, focusing on better execution. "We knew Roach could fight," one of Davis's trainers said. "It wasn't a surprise. We just need to put the icing on the cake this time." This confidence in their original plan suggests that Davis's camp believes the draw was more about execution than a flaw in their preparation. However, they're also aware that underestimating Roach again could be costly. The controversy surrounding the first fight has only added fuel to the rematch. The ninth-round incident, where Davis took a knee and the referee didn't call it a knockdown, remains a point of contention. Many believe it should have been scored as a knockdown, which could have given Roach the edge on the scorecards. "If you count that, he would have lost the fight," one analyst argued. The incident has led to calls for a cleaner, more conclusive fight this time around, with no room for officiating controversies to overshadow the result. Beyond the technical aspects of the fight, there's a psychological element at play. Davis is known for his mental toughness, but the draw shook his confidence and raised questions about his invincibility. For Roach, the first fight was a statement. He proved he could hang with one of the best. Now, he faces the challenge of doing it again against a Davis who's more focused and determined than ever. "This isn't just routine," one observer said of Davis's training. "It's personal." The rematch also carries implications for Davis's legacy. A dominant performance could silence his critics and reaffirm his status as a pound-for-pound elite. A second underwhelming showing, however, could fuel doubts about his place at the top. For Roach, a win or even another competitive performance would solidify his reputation and open doors to bigger fights. The stakes couldn't be higher for both men. As the fight approaches, the boxing world is divided. Some, like Rolly Romero, remain steadfast in their belief in Davis, calling the draw a bad night that doesn't define his career. Others, like Jaron Ennis, acknowledge that Davis controlled the early rounds but argue that the narrative around the fight has been overblown. "People just don't like Tank," Ennis said. "Any little thing, they feel like he lost." Meanwhile, Roach's supporters point to his performance as evidence that he's ready to take on anyone. The rematch is set to take place in May, and both fighters are approaching it with a sense of urgency. Davis, training in the cold of Baltimore, is embracing the challenge of proving himself again. Roach, aware of the opportunity in front of him, is pushing his limits to match Davis's intensity. The first fight was a clash of skill, heart, and determination. The rematch promises to be even more explosive, with both men fighting not just for victory but for their place in boxing history. In the end, this fight is about more than just a win or a loss. For Davis, it's about redemption and reclaiming his spot at the top. For Roach, it's about proving he belongs among the elite and capitalizing on the biggest stage of his career. The boxing world will be watching, waiting to see who rises to the occasion and who falters under the pressure. One thing is certain, this rematch will be a defining moment for both fighters.